Hello, Gemini Risings. Welcome to your monthly zodiac reading for the month of April 2025. As always, please make sure that you check your sun, moon, and rising in case this reading does not resonate with you. Maybe one of the other areas will, because that could be the area of your chart that is actually being activated the most for this month. As always, we will pull an overall energy theme for the month. We will pull tarot for each week. We will correlate that with the astrological transits, clarify those messages, as well as get some additional oracle guidance for this coming week. So let's see what your overall energy message is for the week of April. Month of April. Sisters of the seasons, cycles of growth, natural law, divine order. I love this. And this is direct, right? And this is number 17. One is the self. It is creation, right? We are co-creators within the universe. And 7 is a very spiritual number. You see it countless times through multiple different religions or spiritual or faith belief systems. But you have like 7 days of the week and 7 chakras. There are so many different areas that the number 7 correlates to. When you get them together, you get 8. 8 is a karmic number because it is the infinity symbol. It is a representation that energy is always consistently moving, even if we don't always see it. And with you guys are going through a cycle of growth. You are learning how to work with the natural law or even the natural and divine order of things, which is really beautiful. You guys are mutable energy, and so you're able to adapt easily. But this month, it looks like when you're adapting and the things that you're adapting to, it's almost like it feels less like you're trying to assert some sort of control and more like you're kind of just literally going with the flow. Like I keep seeing like a leaf literally just going down the river. So that's really, really beautiful. Let's see what each week has in store with you guys. Here in the first week, the Page of Cups in reverse. Here in the second week, the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. Here in the third week, the Ace of Swords in reverse. And the Three of Swords in reverse here in the last week of the month. Okay, so all reversals, and that's okay. Reversals are not scary. It just means that there could be something interfering with the energy, or this is just the cycle of growth that you guys are going through. Here in this first week, we've got the Page of Cups in reverse. Pages are messengers of the tarot, and they are also apprentices. And I just heard you're not learning to listen to your intuition. Pages are, like I said, they're messengers. And this could mean that you're receiving a message that invokes some sort of emotional reaction or response out of you. It could make you kind of emotionally act out in some way. The page, like I said, it represents young energy, an apprentice. So it can be an emotionally reactive child or energy. And it can also represent that you're not listening to your intuition. You're not listening to that divine guidance, right? This is the week on the 3rd, Venus retrograde is going to make a conjunction with the North Node in Pisces, as well as Saturn in Pisces. Venus retrograde has been having us reevaluate what it is that we value, and that is either to get us to realize that we have not been acting in alignment with those values, or it's to actually reaffirm that we are acting in alignment with those values, right? And with the North Node in Pisces sitting next to Saturn, obstacles that you're encountering, restrictions or limitations that you're encountering are almost, they're trying to get you to reevaluate those values. And it's also trying to get you to move towards this energy of surrender and faith and divine order, right? Instead of trying to get you to control things, Saturn's restrictions are trying to force you to learn how to recognize that you're not actually in control. And the best way for you to go about moving is to listen more to those intuitive messages. Here in the second week, we've got the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. The Queen of Pentacles in reverse can represent a working mother or a working parent. It can represent somebody who is a little too controlling when it comes to day-to-day routines, when it comes to career. It can represent that there's a work-life imbalance that's occurring. This is the week that Mercury is going to go to direct within the sign of Pisces. Mercury is the planet of thoughts, ideas, and communication, and it's been retrograde for the last couple of weeks. But now it's going to go direct within the sign of Pisces. And for you guys, this is hitting your 10th house, right? So this could be that Mercury is bringing about either communication or clarity, that there could be a work-life imbalance that you're struggling to recognize. This is also on the 12th when we will have the Sun in Aries conjunct or sitting next to Chiron in Aries. Chiron in Aries has been pointing out where we feel wounded around our sense of self, and the Sun is going to highlight some sort of wound, an identity wound, but that the reason it's highlighting it is so that it can heal. This is a time for healing, okay? Here in the third week, we've got the Ace of Swords in reverse. Aces are beginnings or new opportunities. And with swords, this is the mind. This is thoughts, ideas, and communication. So with it being in reverse, there could be a lack of communication, or there could just be, there are no new ideas coming up, right? Things could feel just very mundane. This is the week that we have the full moon occurring within the sign of Libra. Full moons are a buildup or a culmination of energy, and the light of the moon is illuminating typically what it is that we need to see based upon emotional responses, or it's going to illuminate what it is that we need to release. For you guys, Libra sits in your 5th house. This is your house of self-expression. It could be that for once, Geminis, you have nothing to say. And I mean that in the best way possible. You guys are the sign of communication. You guys are the duality of the give and take of communication. But it could be in the third week that the full moon in Libra is like, we don't have anything to say to this. It might be that you guys are more, the energy is focused more internally this month with the reversals versus being showcased externally, right? But the full moon is happening within your 5th house. This is your house of self-expression, your house of creativity. It is your house of children. So if you are a working parent, it could be that maybe you're struggling when it comes to how you interact and communicate with one of your kids. But the Ace of Swords in the 5th house, it really has a lot to do with your self-expression and how you communicate. So, and for some of you, if you're out in the dating world, it could be that a one-off romantic encounter that you've been going through, you've been kind of entertaining. It could be that there's a lack of communication in this area, and the full moon in Libra is like, you know what? This is not worth our time anymore, and we need to let this go. On the 16th, Mercury is going to at some point have moved into the sign of Aries, and it's now going to be conjunct Neptune. Our thoughts, ideas, and communication could feel very bold, very honest, very open, very assertive, but be mindful that that communication is based more on divine action and not off of illusion, right? Not off of what you're perceiving the situation to be. I also forgot to mention on the 13th, which is also this week, Venus will go direct within the sign of Pisces. She went retrograde at Aries. She is now currently retrograde within the sign of Pisces, and she will go direct on the 13th in Pisces. On the 18th, we have Mars moving into the sign of Leo. Mars is the planet of action, aggression, war, violence, and sexual desire. It's about power and control, domination. And Leo sits in your third house. So this is the house you guys govern. It is your how you communicate and how you think. Leo has the tendency to be a little bit on the dramatic side. So just be mindful that when Mars moves into your third house, you can either take this opportunity to be bold and honest with your communication and really kind of go for what it is that you want by asking, by communicating what it is that you want. Or it could take the downside in that you could act aggressively or speak aggressively based upon your ego or pride being hurt. On the 19th is when Taurus season begins. Anytime we shift into a new astrological season, that is when the sun is illuminating and highlighting the beauty of that sign. And Taurus is slow moving, it's productive, it's not in a hurry, it's very indulgent. And it's, it's an earth sign, so we could find ourselves a little bit more motivated to stay outdoors. Here in the last week, you guys have got the Three of Swords in reverse, which I find very interesting, but the Three of Swords in reverse can represent coming into a space of acceptance when it comes to a feeling of heartache or loss in some way. The Three of Swords represents a heartache, a loss, or separation, and when it's in reverse, it represents that now we're coming into a space of acceptance, and now we can begin to heal from that sense of loss, or we can begin healing that loss. Taurus sits in your 12th house. Okay, and the 12th house for you guys is a difficult house because it is the house of the subconscious. It is the house of self-sabotage. It is the house of mental health. It is the house of addiction and escapism. And it is definitely the house of spirituality. And a lot of the time, what we can see is that we can see the subconscious being activated within the 12th house. And a lot of like buried deep things that are just buried within the subconscious, wounds that are buried within the subconscious. This is when we're going to experience the new moon within the sign of Taurus. New moons are new opportunities or blank slates to write a new chapter for yourself. And it could be that this new moon is providing you an opportunity to address more of those subconscious wounds so that you no longer continue to do things that sabotage your own well-being or that really interfere with you stepping into a new cycle of growth for yourself. In order to really do that, it looks like you guys are going to have to address some of those subconscious wounds, maybe things that you actively choose to ignore. But the new moon is just an opportunity for you to set those intentions. And the intention could be like, I am going to journal and really just get all of my thoughts and emotions around past romantic heartbreaks or how much I don't feel loved or valued by my family or just things of that nature. So that actually feels like a very beautiful opportunity. And truthfully, all of them do. All of these cards represent a beautiful opportunity. It does, again, it reflects the fact that you guys are going through this cycle of growth. And in order for you to actively achieve this cycle of growth, you're going to have to do the internal work this month. But let's see what clarifying messages can come out or come out. Here in the first week, the Page of Cups in reverse, the King of Cups, and the Eight of Wands. Interesting. Okay, so it could be that you guys actually do receive a message that kind of invokes a, like I said, an emotional response. But the King of Cups is there to be like, look, you can handle this differently. You do not have to act like a child. You don't have to act out. Again, you guys have Leo in the third house. So when you do speak, it has the tendency to be a little bit on the dramatic side or the exaggerated side. That's okay. That's not to say it's a bad thing at all. It's just kind of how your energy functions. So when you guys do have the tendency to react out of maybe something that you just don't want to hear, or something that, like I said, invokes that emotional response, the King of Cups is like, we can do this compassionately. We can take action, the Eight of Wands, from a very heart-centered and leader-like place, a calm, heart-centered, emotionally regulated place. That is where we need to make decisions from. Because if we were to make decisions, if you guys were to make decisions impulsively or based upon those reactions, it probably has the tendency to turn out in a way that you wish that it didn't. And you could be spending that time thinking about regret and things like that. So whatever messages come up for you, handle them with integrity, handle them from a very calm and centered place. And sometimes that means not reacting or not responding right away. You don't have to respond immediately to that text. You don't have to, if someone says something in the midst of a conversation, you have the authority to be like, you know what? I don't have the answers right now, or I need time to think on this so that I can respond in a way that feels aligned for me. So that way you can choose to make decisions and communicate in a way that feels much more heart-centered and heart-led. Okay? Here in the second week, the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. Challenges and conflict of interest with the Five of Wands. And then the Page of Swords. So communication. It could be, like I said, if there is a work-life imbalance that is occurring for you guys because Mercury is going direct within the sign of Pisces, it could be that somebody comes to you here on the second week and is like, look, you're spending way too much time at work, and when you come home, you're not here. You're mentally not here, or when you are off work, you're doing other things. We want you home. You need to be more home. You need to be more in control of how you manage your time, right? It could be for you, the reason there feels like a conflict of interest when it comes to the Five of Wands, and it could create this tension, right? Maybe somebody at home is not communicating how they feel, or somebody at the workplace is not communicating how they feel. And it's creating this unnecessary tension. But the Page of Swords is there to be like, do what you guys do best and get curious. Hey, I feel like there's this unspoken tension between us. Can you elaborate on that? Is there something that you feel like we need to discuss? Just ask questions. You guys are amazing at asking questions. And that's the beauty of your energy, is that you are always curious. And as long as that curiosity is not fueled by unregulated emotion, you guys have the tendency to prove that you're very good communicators. So when it comes to your career, when it comes to the workplace, there could be a work-life imbalance, and either somebody, either in the home or in the workplace, is probably going to say something, or you could feel that there's just this tension. And even if nobody says anything, it looks like it's a good time for you guys to get curious as to, why do I do this? Ask yourself, why do I do this? Why do I spend more time at work than I do at home? Or why do I struggle being at work when I'd rather be somewhere else? Now's the time to not only just get curious about why there is the tendency to, why you feel this tension that you're feeling between your work life and your home life or personal life. Here in the third week, the Ace of Swords in reverse, the Page of Cups direct, and the Wheel of Fortune. Very nice. So with this full moon in the sign of Libra, like I said, it could be revealing maybe where there is a lack of communication or a lack of ideas. If there's a lack of ideas, then that's why the Page of Cups is here, to be like, look, listen to your intuition and not to your head. Listen to your body, listen to your gut. What is your gut telling you needs to happen next? Because listening to that intuition here with the Page of Cups is really what's going to help this cycle of growth, the Wheel of Fortune, really begin to move in your favor and get it to move in the direction that you're wanting it to move, right? So if you're not coming up with any ideas mentally, if you feel like there's a lack of communication mentally, not really sure where your head's at, it's because you need to get into your body, listen to what your body is telling you, and listen to what your intuition is telling you. Here in the last week, the Three of Swords in reverse, the Seven of Swords. So coming into this state of awareness, allowing these truths to be revealed to you, or even stepping into a state of authenticity, right? No longer letting any resentment, or no longer letting any of this heartache and grief that maybe you've been holding on to hold you back from being your authentic self, here with the Seven of Swords in reverse. And another 7, 7, 7, 7. Very interesting. So be mindful of 777, angel number 777. But this week, the new moon in Taurus hitting your 12th house, you guys are receiving a lot of clarity. And it's almost like a lot of self-awareness. That if there have been tendencies to self-sabotage, if there have been tendencies to just act in ways that you maybe feel like aren't in alignment with what you're wanting to do or who you're wanting to be, it looks like the new moon in Taurus is actually going to provide the answers that you need so that you no longer do that, which is really lovely. This whole reading is beautiful. Like, this all feels like a way for you, Gemini, to level up as a soul, as an individual, and almost kind of take your power back in a way to allow you to feel more stable and grounded within yourself. Get some of this clarifying energy here in the first week. Be bold and make the first move. If you feel like, again, with the Page of Cups, and it could be that if maybe not a verbal, like I said, you could be receiving a message that causes you guys to react in a way that you normally wouldn't or don't want to. It could be that you're picking up on the energy of another person. Like I said, it could be that some of you, if you're a working parent, you pick up on the energy of your kid, that maybe your kid is upset about something and you're, you know what I mean? And you're picking up on that. But the Page of Cups can be, like I said, it's an emotional child. Somebody around you could be acting out. I don't want to keep saying, because it doesn't feel that way. It feels more like this just unspoken energy of somebody around you is not saying something. There's something weighing on another person and they're not saying it. So it could be that be bold and make the first move. You approach that situation. Be like, look, I feel like there's something that you want to say that you're not saying. And I'm here with an open heart and open mind to listen to what it is that you have to say. Because we have the Eight of Wands can represent quick decisions, making that first move, but also communication, direct communication. Okay, but it can come from a very emotionally regulated and heart-centered place. Here in the second week, emotions are running high. Like I said, that Five of Wands with that tension, the Five of Wands with the tension, the Queen of Pentacles, maybe somebody in your life is very, very controlling, or there's this imbalance that's occurring in your life and it's creating a tension, some tension either within the home or within your career. And emotions are running high. So just recognize that. And like I said, get curious. Ask, hey, what's going on? Or I noticed you behaving or saying certain things. Can we talk about that? Get curious. There's a way to actually approach conflict or tension in a way that's actually quite healthy and gets to the root cause and provides productive and progressive communication. Here in the last week or third week, A time to give rather than to take. Listen to your intuition. How can you give rather than receive? Where do you want to give rather than to see, rather than to receive? Who do you want to give that compassion to? Again, cups are a lot to do with love, emotions, inner peace, joy, happiness, compassion. Where do you want to give that compassion to? Where do you want to give that love to? Who do you want to give it to? You know, it could be time for you to focus more on being of service rather than receiving. Expect powerful change. Addressing this 12th house stuff for you guys is going to be a game changer. It is going to be a game changer. And it really feels like the universe here is testing your communication skills within the month of April. You guys are the sign of communication. You're ruled by Mercury, the planet of the messenger, planet of messages and communication. The universe is testing your ability to improve upon your communication. Because like I said, Leo in your third house, there has a tendency to, when you communicate, for it can be very dramatic, loud, expressive, and even exaggerated. And that can sometimes be too much for other people. Doesn't mean that you should temper that down, but there is a way to regulate if it's coming from a stable, an emotionally stable place, or is it coming from a deeply held wound of not feeling seen or heard. But you can expect this powerful change, new moon energy, new moon eclipse, which we just had. So I absolutely love that. Like, you guys here this last week, I'm excited to see what happens for you guys. I really am here with this last week because it feels like a very powerful shift. This whole month does, but ultimately this feels like the universe is testing your ability to communicate in healthy ways. So I truly hope this helped. I hope you guys have an incredible month, and we will see you in May.